Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the METUS Tech Show. Today we're going to be talking with Sean Gallagher, and we're going to talk about the top 20, maybe 22, maybe 17 heat pump myths. We'll see what happens, but first, the METUS Minute.
Today's METUS Minute is on GWP. Global warming potential, or GWP, is a scientific metric that compares how much heat a greenhouse gas traps in the atmosphere relative to carbon dioxide, CO2, which is assigned a baseline GWP of 1. The calculation considers two main factors: radiative energy, how strongly the gas absorbs infrared radiation, and atmospheric lifetime, how long the gas persists before breaking down. GWP is determined by integrating the gas's radiative forcing over a chosen time horizon, usually 20, 100, or 500 years, and then normalizing the result against CO2. For example, R410A has a 100-year GWP of about 2088, meaning 1 kilogram of R410A traps as much heat over a century as 2088 kilograms of CO2. This standardized method, established by the IPCC, allows policymakers and engineers to compare refrigerants and guide transitions toward lower GWP alternatives like R32 and R454B. Thanks for listening to today's METUS Minute. Now let's start the show.
The METUS Tech Show.
Welcome to the METUS Tech Show, a show for HVAC professionals by HVAC professionals.
I like how you guys bounce back and forth between heat pump talk and food talk.
The METUS Tech Show.
Mitsubishi.
All right, so Sean, you mentioned two of my favorite words a few minutes ago. Well, the two words, they're not my favorite words, but when they're combined, they become my two favorite words: fried clams. I absolutely love fried clams. There was a restaurant / bar in my town that I grew up in. My father used to take me there when I was 3, but they had the best fried clams I ever had. That place, unfortunately, went out of business. It didn't go out of business. They closed down because the landlord wanted to take over the building. The family took over the business from the dad, and they're all getting older, and they just said, you know what, we've been in business for 50 years. It's time to stop, but I love fried clams.
I'd be in agreement with you. And the hallmarks of good fried clams are, in my mind at least, are as follows. You have to have a fresh clam to start with.
Yes.
Then you've also got to fry that to perfection. And when they come out of the fryer, shiny with hot grease, that is the best way.
Yes.
If it's not shiny with hot grease.
No, and those are so good. And when you put them in a bag, like if you get takeout, you put them in the bag, it better be covered in grease.
Yes.
There's plenty of places that get fried clams around here, but I'm thinking that might be just the Northeast thing. I don't think I can get fried clams in El Paso.
No. Nor should you.
I was going to say, it's more of a should thing than a can.
Yeah, I don't think I would if I could.
Let's specify whole belly clams, by the way, too.
Yes, whole belly. No, so a friend of mine, he met a woman. They've been married for like 30 years now, so this is a long time ago. But when she first got introduced to our circle of friends, she ordered fried clams at this restaurant I was talking about. By the way, it was called the Bar Lunch, and it was in Hudson, Massachusetts. Oh, great place. There's another story to go with that later, but she ordered the fried clams, and I ordered scallops. And no, I didn't order scallops. I'm sorry. I ordered fish and chips. She ordered the fried clams. And they come out, and she sees the bellies, and she goes, what are these? I go, those are fried clams. She goes, I'm not used to this. Upstate New York, when you say fried clams, you get clam strips. Putrid.
That's just what's left in the bottom of the toaster.
Exactly. They don't want that.
It's not real.
Can I say crap? I don't think I can say crap. It's junk.
Yeah.
I can say junk.
You can say junk.
Okay. We'll edit that out later. So she wanted to swap with me. She goes, I'll trade you my whole belly fried clams for your fish and chips. I go, let me think about that for like a millisecond. Right? But I was just surprised, and clam strips, I ordered them in a restaurant. The opposite happened to me. I ordered them in a restaurant in upstate New York. Okay, I'll try it. It was clam strips. I go, what are these? Where are the bellies? You need the bellies.
Yeah.
And they're so good.
Yeah, I have no problem with clam strips. It's like seafood chicken tenders.
I think that's a very accurate description.
It's great. I love it.
Rather
You know,
bland.
the fried clam.
Yeah, exactly.
The fried clam was invented actually in Massachusetts. At least legend has it. Not sure if this is verified. I mean, what's that place where you verify myths and
That's called Google.
Snopes.
That's what it's called. Snopes. I haven't checked it with Snopes. Google could lie. They could. They actually do. I don't say that. I probably shouldn't say that. No, they can lie because it depends on what other people put in there. But I haven't checked it with Snopes, but I think it's Woodman's in Ipswich.
Okay.
They claim to invent the fried clam. I think if you ask the locals in the state, they're going to say they're probably the number one rated fried clam.
You want to hear some other interesting seafood dishes? I'm looking at the top 10.
Top 10 seafood dishes?
Yeah.
Where?
This is by Martin's Famous Potato Rolls and Bread.
I've never heard of them. How can they be famous?
Well, let's just see what they have.
All right.
First is lobster mac and cheese with butter bread crumb topping.
See, that's a waste of lobster.
I don't know if I would like that one. Next one I thought was kind of interesting. I've never tried it, but scallop BLT sub. You make a BLT
With scallops.
and put scallops on it, on like a hoagie roll.
Maybe a Martin's potato roll.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay.
I wonder if that's why they're doing the list.
Sounds okay, yeah.
Next one, crispy baked shrimp with secret sauce. I'm sure they tell you what that one is. Crab cake sliders.
Crab cakes? Oh, yeah. Those.
Bet you that could be pretty good. Parmesan baked tilapia.
Nah,
It says lobster roll from Ditch Plains. What's Ditch Plains?
never heard of it.
New York City.
No,
The New York City-based restaurant.
yeah, I wouldn't go there.
Yeah.
You know,
Do
they
you
used
like
to,
lobster rolls?
I love lobster rolls. I just went to Cousin's Maine Lobster has a lobster truck that goes around, and they were at a winery near my house a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
My wife and I went. I think it's $24, $28 for a lobster roll. It was really good. And they call it Connecticut style or Maine style. Maine is cold, which is how I like it. And Connecticut is just warmed lobster on a toasted bun.
Yeah.
Right. But no, it's very good. See, I like butter on lobster, and that's about it. But anything else on the lobster, maybe a little bit of mayo on a roll, nice and cold, maybe some lettuce. But I like the natural flavor of that lobster. To put that in mac and cheese, to me, is a waste of time. Although I would say, and I think I got this idea from watching a Seinfeld episode, but I did once make scrambled eggs and lobster,
Really?
That's good.
and that was delicious.
Interesting. So cold lobster rolls typically are like mayo based, and then they're warm. It's like with butter. I don't eat lobster.
What?
Not for us.
Not for me.
Yeah, good enough. Yeah, I have
it.
my two sons. My oldest didn't want lobster from he was very young. We brought some lobsters home, and they're alive. So the PETA people who are listening, calm down. We gave them a hot tub, put them in a hot tub, and they fell asleep and died. That's like I can't explain it. But my son was like, he saw him alive. He wanted nothing to do with him. He was afraid of him. He was like 2. And then I cooked them and started cracking them open. And he's like, one question after another. Why are they red? Why aren't they moving? Why is there chicken inside?
Why is there chicken?
Yeah,
inside?
and he still won't touch him. He's in his 20s today. He won't touch him. My younger one is a teenager. He'll try everything. And he eats everything. He loves octopus. He loves sardines. He loves everything that, And unfortunately, he likes lobster. Fried clams, things like that. Scallops.
Yeah.
You got to get the fisherman's platter.
Yes.
There's
I
a
love
couple
everything.
of places around here. You're going to get the fried clams. You're going to get the fried scallops. You're going to get fried pieces of usually a white fish, haddock or cod or whatever it is, and a load of fries and 2 big tubs of tartar sauce and some coleslaw. It's going to cost you about $50. For a normal person, it's about 4 meals. For me, that's a good day's work.
Good appetite.
Yeah. All right. So we ready?
Yeah.
So today Bryn and I, I'm going to
First, welcome to the METUS Tech Show, everybody.
We always forget that. So people, I'm going to dispel, I hope I'm going to bust a lot of balloons here, whatever the term is. I don't want to let people down, but those of you who think that we painstakingly work behind the scenes to bring these episodes to you,
No.
we have like basically 30 seconds of planning. We're kind of literally flying by the seat of our pants. What are we going to do next? Because we're all busy. We've got our regular jobs to do, and and it's just busy. My calendar is full. So Bryn came in my office and said, "What are you going to do for a podcast?" I said, "I have no idea." He said, "I was thinking this." Okay, and that's typically how it goes.
Yeah.
And we take Sean. When did you find out you were going to be on the podcast?
About 2 hours ago.
Yeah, when we told you, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
When's the next time when you're
We need
available? You made the mistake of coming into the office when we're here.
I love it here.
Yes. Okay. So we decided to talk about some of the myths because there's a lot of myths out there. Even where we sit in our world, heat pumps are a big thing. It's a big part of our lives, but there's still a lot of people out there that may not be true. There's still some technicians out there that aren't recommending heat pumps.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story. Alicia on our marketing team, she lives up in New Hampshire, and she contacted a dozen or so contractors just to see what they would say. I want to say she had an oil system. I don't remember if it was air or water, but she had oil, and out of the 11 or 10 contractors she called, there were quite a few of them that never mentioned a heat pump. They said, we recommend you put another oil furnace in, or oil boiler, whatever it was. And I was like, what? What?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy to me. You got to give people the option.
Right.
At the end of the day, the person writing the check's going to decide, but you got to give them the options.
And all of those contractors that responded to requests from a Mitsubishi lead.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she actually requested information on a Mitsubishi system.
Yeah.
And they said, well, I think you should go. What's the name of that oil system we manufacture?
We do not make.
Oh, okay.
Anything that
All
burns
right.
something.
Okay. I didn't hear that. All right. So let's take these myths.
Yeah.
Any order you want, Sean? Which one you want to tackle first?
I'd like to start with the heat pumps don't work in cold climates because it seems to be right on the heels of what we were just discussing. The myth is that they stop working below freezing, and that hasn't been true for quite some time.
Decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decades. So we were just talking before this. I just replaced, had an air-to-air heat pump in my house. It was 20-some-odd years old. And the technology then, for what it was back then, it was the top-of-the-line heat pump. I just put in a PVA with a PUZ. I got a small ranch with one air handler in there, and that's what I replaced. And I'm just going to gain some more efficiency from what I had. My electric heat used to come on during defrost and when it got really, really cold. But I never froze. I had heat not year round, but all winter long.
Yeah.
I had all the heat I needed. I installed this. The good thing about the PUZ and the PVA I installed, I think I went on a business trip and we installed it early spring, and it got cold, and my wife turned on the heat because she figured out how to use the controller. I didn't explain it to her, but I didn't think she'd give it a try. And she said, the heat felt so much more even than it usually feels. I said, well, that's good to know. So I'm actually waiting to see what happens in the next couple of months.
Yeah. Should be interesting.
But they do work in the cold. Yeah. It used to be in, so this goes back a while, but sorry, folks. I think back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, there were a lot of dual fuel systems in this area, gas furnaces with heat pumps.
Yep.
And they were probably put in the 70s during the energy crisis. And I would recommend people just go straight gas, because back then those heat pumps, they didn't do what they do now.
Right, they were non-inverter.
We didn't have the inverters. We didn't have any of these high efficiency stuff. I said, you're better off just going with a straight gas furnace. These things. And back then it was true. When it gets into the 30s or lower, forget it. It's not going to heat. So
yeah.
Now I think the opposite is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it seems to get better every year too. If you look at, we just came out with the Sumo when we did the transition. That's guaranteed operation to negative 22, and we get 100% capacity to negative 10 degrees. So the drive for it, or the motivation for it, is not going anywhere, right? And so they're going to continue to engineer and make the product better. Obviously, the refrigerant change helped us.
Yeah. And the important thing here is, no matter what we talk about, the assumption here and the important thing is that the system is sized properly.
Yeah.
If you don't size a system properly, you're defeating the purpose of getting a heat pump. So it has to be sized properly. If you're not using load calculations, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. Use load calculations.
Manual J load calculation followed by a manual S equipment selection.
Yep.
And a manual D calculation if ductwork is going to be involved.
Yep.
Very important.
I have a brother manual. Just saying.
All right, what's next?
They're only for cooling, not heating.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with a heat pump, calling it a heat pump. The thing is, it doesn't create heat. It does what an air conditioning system does.
Yeah.
It transfers heat from one place to another. And air conditioning takes heat out of your home, throws it outside. A heat pump takes the heat that's in the air outside and brings it inside. And when it's below zero, 5 degrees below zero, there is still heat in the air.
Absolutely.
And a heat pump can actually extract that heat and bring it in the house.
Yeah. What do they say? There's no such thing as cold, only lack of heat.
That's right.
So this brings up another point that I always like to touch on is that sometimes with all this talk about heat, people forget that this is great air conditioning equipment and that burning any kind of fossil fuel isn't going to make air conditioning for you. We'll give you heat and cool out of the same box.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, because if I go put a furnace, gas or oil furnace in my house,
Add an A coil.
I still need an air condensing unit, right? And the other thing, I think this is another myth that's coming up later, but a heat pump is not that much more expensive than just a straight AC system. Right? I don't know what the prices are. I don't deal with that. We're not going to talk pricing. But I remember when I was in a van and I was talking to a customer, we decided as a company, we're not even, for the Mitsubishi, the mini splits, we didn't even mention a cooling only unit. Because I want to say the difference in price was like $100 to $200.
Yeah.
So we said, no, it's not an option. You get air conditioning, the heat just comes with it.
Right.
And when we did that, the people said, I love this. It was kind of cool in here. It's always been a cold spot to heat this up. So I would, in some states, you can't install cooling only units anymore. California, I think, is one of them. There may be a few others.
Interesting. How about this next one? Heat pumps are too expensive to run. I'd like to touch on this one as I have a heat pump, a KJ version, the 1-to-1, that services an apartment above my garage. Again, did the manual J, applied the equipment. It's one 18,000 BTU unit. I have no electric bill. I have solar that offsets my costs. I purchased that outright. And as a matter of fact, enough solar that I aggregate the difference to my house without the solar panels and have no electric bill on either the garage or the house. And depending what you're paying per kilowatt versus what the cost per therm or per gallon for oil is, these may be very close together. You may find that there are times that it costs more to run a fossil fuel.
Yeah.
It wasn't so long ago we saw $4+ a gallon.
Right. And this is the thing to remember. They're more efficient. Right? A heat pump is always going to be more efficient than anything that burns fossil fuel.
2 to 4 times more efficient.
Right.
Always.
Right. Always. But the thing is, if you're living in an area where gas is cheap and electricity is super expensive, you got to kind of weigh that. You got to compare apples to apples, and that is not comparing apples to apples.
Right.
You can't confuse efficiency with the total net cost. And
again, neither of those fuels ever gave you air conditioning.
Nope. And the other thing, versus any fossil fuel, you're not worried about combustion gas. You're not worried about fumes. You're not worried about any of that stuff.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is, we're talking specifically about gas and oil, but part of, we had Mark on, I think it was last year it was earlier this year during the national sales meeting. And he was talking about grid resilience and that, there's parts of the country where they're not using fossil fuel for heat. But primarily their heat, when they use it, because it's rare, because they have mild seasons, is coming from electric resistance.
Right.
And in that instance, whether you're using a heat pump versus electric resistance, obviously the heat pump's going to be more efficient because with electric resistance, it's 1-to-1.
Right.
Where you get, higher efficiency out of a heat pump. And so adding a heat pump in place of some sort of electric resistance heat source is actually going to take load off of the grid. It's going to actually help provide, less usage in that space for the grid. So that's another part of this was specific about gas and oil, but even with electric resistance, switching to heat pump will probably save you money.
So you're speaking to the coefficient of performance or the ratio of what you're putting in for electrical energy versus what you're getting out for heat energy.
Right. Correct.
And that's very important as that contrasts with AFUE, which is a measure of what you're putting in for some sort of fossil fuel versus what you're going to get out for heat energy. So the best AFUE you're going to get after spending plenty of money is on any system right now is obviously going to be burning natural gas or propane. Right. So oil's out of the equation. You're not going to get 90 plus out of oil. And when you get up to those 98% marks with gas heating, again, you're not getting air conditioning. You're talking about generally a fully communicating system, on par with the cost of any other high-end system, but 98% efficient, so 0.98, not even 100%. It's important to remember. Now we talk about coefficient of performance. Electric baseboard, electric resistance heat is a 1-to-1 ratio, 100% efficient. To recap from earlier, we're 2 to 4 times, 200 to 400% efficient, sometimes 4.5 or 450% efficient. Right. So there's definitely a benefit there.
Yeah, put that in the money, right? If you spend $1 $1 worth of gas, you're getting 98 cents of it. Right? If you're getting $1 worth of electricity, you're getting $1 worth of heat.
From electric resistance.
From electric resistance. Right?
Heat pump.
If at a heat pump, if you're spending $1 for heat, you're getting $4 worth or more. That's what the COP basically means if you want to make it up money. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
How about this next one? They're unreliable and need constant repair. That's a myth.
Yeah, that is a
Hard
myth,
myth.
too. And I'm telling you, I think I've said this before. I can count. I've probably been on. I've been on at least 300 service calls for Mitsubishi products when I was in a van. I was the Mitsubishi guy, all M&P series. I can count on one hand. So I'm going to say it's 300. It's probably more. But I can count 3 systems that I remember where it was actually a defective part, where it wasn't install related, it wasn't weather related. One system had dogs kept chewing the refrigerant lines. One system got a tree fell on it, or the building next door burned and it smashed on it. It's always most of the time it was install related.
Yeah,
it was something we did, but they need the same maintenance as any refrigeration system.
Yeah.
They need the clean coil, the clean air, and the clean drain. And you got to check a few things. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, like thermistors or something, or last week, whatever it was.
Yeah, in the family.
Maybe these things, but no, it's not more expensive. It doesn't need any more maintenance than any other system.
No. The one thing that I'll say is, at least in my experience, was when I was doing service for heat pumps, majority of my service calls and the repairs I was doing was on leaks. Right. So, and I ask our students in class the same thing. How often, or what's the most common service call you get when it's HVAC related, when it's a heat pump? And it's like 90+% fixing leaks. Yeah. You'll have the occasional, component go bad, but it's not anymore. I mean, think about in the middle of winter when you have oil burners, right? Oil burners, you're doing 8 calls a day replacing something, whether it's a control, an igniter, whatever. There's tons of components that are there for failure. I mean, it's a really highly mechanical machine, whereas this is more electronic. So most of my service calls when it came to heat pumps was almost entirely leaks. There was a very few boards, very few thermistors. So as far as compared to any other type of heat source, I think it's negligible, if anything.
To that point, when we create a piece of equipment, a condenser specifically, wherever it's manufactured, whether that should be Japan or we do manufacture in Mexico as well. But that piece of equipment was tested at the factory, test run at the factory, and proven to run, put in a box and shipped to the distributor. Distributor shipped it to the contractor. Contractor installed it. It held refrigerant that entire time. Now back on a service call, you're back a week, a month, a year later, there's no refrigerant in the system.
Yeah.
Law of averages is going to say that's an install-related issue.
100%.
To your point.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I was actually at the factory where they made the P-Series equipment in Japan. And one of the final tests, it was really cool to see. I saw them make it from beginning to end. They got the frame, not the frame, but they got the base, and they put a compressor on it and a wiring harness. And they built everything from there. And at the end, they bring it, and they actually fill it with helium. And helium molecules are a lot smaller than refrigerant molecules. So if it's going to leak with helium, it's going to leak with everything. If it's not going to leak with helium, it's not going to leak with anything.
Yeah, interesting.
Right? And I asked the guy, what happens if this fails? And he looked at me and he goes, it never happened.
Yeah, and he spoke in a normal voice, so there was no leaking of helium.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Exactly. That's a good point. But the thing is, that if it doesn't leak with helium, that thing is tight.
Sure.
Right? So, a leak is install related.
100%.
How about the next one here? They don't add value to a home. Well, I know a lot of people that Airbnb houses, and they can say they have air conditioning, they can get more for the rent on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a myth.
No, that is absolutely a myth.
Anybody who's ever been on Zillow looking for apartments and sees that they list it right in there, heat pump, whatever.
Air conditioning.
And the rent's about $300 more.
Yeah. You want air conditioning?
This next one, they're noisy and bulky.
Noisy. This goes back a couple of decades ago too, but one of the first Mitsubishi units I installed, I didn't think was working.
Yeah.
Because
really
I couldn't hear it. I go, what was that noise? And I had to go look, hey, the fan's moving. Right? We do it here in class. When I was teaching, I'd have the FH unit running. Right? It would be the outdoor unit would be running. So the compressor's running, the fan is running, and you're having class. And I go, who noticed that unit's running? Well, what? It's running? It's been running the whole time. You can't hear it.
Yep.
Now, they're not noiseless. And again, this is a repeat, but if you put an indoor unit in a bedroom and everything gets quiet at night, you're going to hear something.
Yeah.
It's not going to be this loud thing, but you're going to hear something. So if you're sensitive to those things, be aware of it. This is knowing where to install it, the right application, and everything else. But compared to conventional equipment, compared to an oil burner,
Yeah.
I used to have a house with oil in the basement. It sounds like there's, a drag race going on in the basement.
Yeah, most of the time you can hear the motor kick on before the igniter, before the oil pump actually sends the oil. And you hear the steps. Okay, motor's on. All right, now the oil valve's open.
Yeah. And a gas furnace too. You're gonna hear the inducer come on, and then
And let's not forget about the click of the thermostat.
In the room.
Yeah.
There's actually somebody on LinkedIn. I'm sure he's on other platforms too. Is Tony? I can't remember his last name. You might remember if I describe it. He's kind of has like crazy hair. He wears glasses. He's like an HVAC guy, and he does all sorts of cool stuff on social media. And he just, like the other day, I saw a video of him in a bedroom. And in the window was a window AC. And then right on the wall next to it was a heat pump, wall mount. And he just had a decibel meter. And he was just showing the difference between a window AC compared to the wall mount unit. And the wall mount was like 22 decibels compared to the window AC, which was like almost 60.
Sure.
And he actually went into, every 10 decibels is actually perceived by your ear as double the volume. So 20 to 30 is actually twice as much. So by the time it got up to 50, it's basically 4 times as loud, even though it's only 30 decibels, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and I read an article recently talking about noise and heat pumps.
Yeah.
It's basically the same level as any background noise.
Yeah.
Right? So you're taking a walk outside in the springtime and you hear birds and cars go by. It's not louder than that.
No.
What's the next one, Sean?
So the next one, I'd like to double these up here. You need backup heat for them to work. Again, that's a myth, and they don't provide enough hot air. A double myth. I've seen 130-degree air coming out of these on a 10-degree day.
Right. Now, this used to be a bigger problem. And even when I was installing furnaces in these, again, a couple of decades ago, and you'd take a furnace out, one of those big, giant green furnaces that was like 250, 270-degree air coming out. Yeah. Right, because those things are super inefficient. I think 50% if we were lucky, I think. Right, no, just a big chamber.
Your stack temp was 400 degrees.
Yeah. And then you put an 80% or 90% furnace in, and the air temperature is going to be much cooler. And people, it doesn't blow out as hot. No, it's not supposed to. That's by design. Yep. But you're right. These heat pumps, are going to be up there. And I don't think it's too cold. And maybe in the old days, it felt cooler compared to gas, but I think those days are gone.
And again, when you talk about a ducted system, a delivered air through the registers is going to be cooler than where it is living in the plenum. So, it's important to understand that. And when you have a wall-mounted unit, you have none of the duct loss, anything like that. So you're getting a lot more energy into the space, hence those warmer temperatures that I was describing.
Very true.
Yeah, I think we actually talked about it when we were on the M&P by the numbers. As part of that, too, is just managing the expectations of the homeowner. We actually had this was back when I was in a service van, we had installed a heat pump case coil on top of a furnace. And the homeowner called because she was having issues with the furnace board. And we had replaced it, and we were trying to figure out what was going on with the system. And we were like, well, why don't you run the heat pump while we try to figure out what's going on? And she's like, absolutely not. I don't like the way it feels. It doesn't blow hot enough. And because she had become accustomed to a fossil fuel furnace where it kicks on, once it reaches a certain temperature, starts delivering hot air through the whole space, and then it shuts off when the hot air is done blowing. Mm-hmm. Whereas this is constant airflow for the most part, or a lot more airflow in general. The fan stays on longer, and it's not delivering hot air. It's usually warm. It's warming the space, but you don't necessarily feel it as if you put your hand over the register, it's not going to feel as warm. And that was part of the installation failure, was not managing those expectations. Correct. Or like, hey, this isn't going to be like your, thermopride furnace you used to have where it's blowing 200-degree air out of the top of it. It's going to be more steady, constant airflow. Other times you get there and they say, hey, my outdoor unit hasn't shut off in hours, but I don't even know if my heat is working or not. And it's like, well, is the space comfortable? Mm-hmm. You're probably fine, and it's designed to run at low frequencies for longer periods of time because that's where the efficiency comes from.
I used to do appliances decades ago, and people used to complain when they buy a new fridge. It runs longer. I noticed my electric bills come down $1 or $2, but it runs longer. So, well, that's what they're designed to do. And while we're on that topic, I don't like setback. A heat pump does best when it's maintaining a constant temperature, because it's going to ramp down to what it needs. And if you feel as though you have to set it back when you leave the house, don't go more than a couple of degrees.
Right.
But at my house, it's set it and forget it. We do the Ronco. Set it and forget it. It's one temperature all winter long, right? And it's one temperature all summer long. Although this time of year, if I know it's going to be in the 50s and 60s at night, the windows are opening, whole system's going off. But that's it. But don't set back your heat pump. Leave it alone.
Just let it run while you have the windows open.
Yeah. No, don't do that. What's the next one, Sean?
How about this one? The government will ban them when refrigerants change.
Well, refrigerants just changed, and the government hasn't done anything.
No. And as a matter of fact, I think it's important to note and to quell any fears that 410A product is still very prevalent, and I've got plenty of it left.
Yeah.
And so, if you'd like to install 410A product, MXEs,
yes.
GS heads, plenty of those around. And so here's the thing about that is that our warranty, if a diamond contractor, our ultimate contractors are called diamond contractors. And if they install that for you today, a 410A system is going to have a 12-year warranty, 12 years on parts and 12 years on compressor. And we're going to honor that parts and compressor warranty all the way to the very end of that 12 years. So even though it may not have the next refrigerant, the R454B and the M&P series, that warranty is still very much in effect.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also on top of it, the government banning the refrigerants doesn't make any sense because they're the ones that changed it.
Yes, exactly.
We're responding to the government's decision. And, we talked a little bit about GWP. Actually, I think it's the METUS Minute. We talked about the GWP and what actually that means. We're trying to make the refrigerant safer for the environment, right? And so that's typically things like that are led by the government. So there's no way they're going to ban them. I'm shocked sometimes at some of the things I see on social media when I look at people talking about the A2L transition and the amount of people that still believe that propane is in the refrigerant.
It drives me crazy.
It's shocking because, obviously we're in the industry, so we see it more often. But, even if I was still just in a van, right, as a service tech, I'd probably figure out what the blend was that I was working with. And there's still people out there that I see think R290 is a blend that is blended into 454B, and it's shocking.
And it's important also to kind of remember that they're talking about banning them. You can still purchase R12. You can still purchase R22. Going all the way back to 1992, the Montreal Protocol, when we all took our 608 license, we had to memorize that date, and that was when we decided to get away from R12 and go to R22. You can still buy both. You can still buy 410A, and of course, you can buy 454B now as well. So
Can you get R11? That was my favorite.
R11, I'm sure you can.
Because that was for cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
That was my favorite cleaning thing.
Still out
Oil
there.
right out of
Get a burnout, flush it with some R11.
Oh, yeah.
Shh, quiet. Okay.
That is not de minimis release.
Yes. No, but back then it was allowed.
Correct.
Yes, I'm old.
Yeah. There's still methods.
Bryn, were you with us in 92?
I was born that year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even fun. I think I'm older than you.
It's radio. Nobody can tell.
Yeah. All right, what else we got?
Well, how about this portion? They can't provide domestic hot water.
Oh,
Spoiler alert.
yes.
Yeah, I know, huh?
There are more information to come on this, but we have the EcoDan, what we call the air to water, and it's basically going to be a heat pump outdoor unit. And by the way, this is not brand new technology. It's been used in Europe for quite a while. That's a good thing about having a worldwide company.
Yeah.
We'll go test things in Europe, let them figure it out, work out the bugs, improve it. And then when it gets really super nice, we bring it here.
Yeah.
But this air to water is basically going to, like a heat pump takes the heat that's in the air, and there's heat in the air all the time. There's only one temperature at which there is no heat in the air.
Absolutely.
And that's negative 460 degrees. And we haven't even got close to that.
Not yet.
No, you'd have to go to space to get close to that.
By the time we do, we'll have like Mitsubishi Humo or something that'll down to that temperature.
Yeah, without backup heat. But basically with this EcoDan, you'll be able to heat your domestic hot water.
Yep.
You'll be able to put a couple of zones of baseboard on it. You'll be able to put some radiant heaters on there. It's basically whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so this is, to me, when heat pump water heaters first came out, I didn't like them because they go in a basement and they're taking the heat that's in the basement, because it was just a small little refrigeration unit on top of the heater, on top of the water heater on this tank.
Yep.
And then you put it in the basement, which is cold anyway. And I've actually heard stories where pipes freezing in the basement because we're taking all the heat out of it.
Yeah.
So this is just it's outdoor unit, and it's going to have a hydro box that goes inside where all the magic happens. So I can't wait for this to come out. This is actually going to be released in the next few months. So where Steve and Bryn and you guys are developing content on it right now with Lowell and his team, and we'll have some e-learning coming out. We'll have some webinars, and so a lot more to come on that.
Probably the topic of another podcast as well.
Oh yeah,
Most
100%.
definitely.
I'm very excited about this product because obviously, with all of us being from the Northeast, we've all been in vans. Like how many boilers we worked on, and when I saw the original factory presentation and started to see some familiar components like zone valves, I'm like, oh yes, this is awesome. This is what I've been hoping
tags,
for.
pressure regulators.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's split style system, but it's using refrigerant to water plate heat exchanger, and that's what's heating our water. So that part's exciting. But then I thought about it is like there's parts of the country that haven't really gone into the hydronic for heating or whatever, and they're using electric resistance probably for their water heaters. And now they're being offered the solution of, it can be your water heater, but it can also be your heat in those, mild seasons. Because think about like Texas or something where they might have some mild winters. It now opens up that potential market, whereas before it was really, if you weren't on fossil fuel, it didn't make any sense. Now it does.
Yeah.
So
the
awesome.
EcoDan, I was talking to a couple of the engineers about it. The EcoDan reminds me of geothermal. So I've probably done, I'm going to guess 30 or 40 geothermal units. And I can say this, no two are exactly alike. There's so many different ways to do geothermal. Just where you get the heat from the ground. Is it going to be a well? Is it going to be buried lines? There's so many different ways to do this. And this reminds me of that because it's going to be that geothermal group. The people who do or have done geothermal, I think, are going to be the most interested in the EcoDan because it's just this great thing. And this, without all the dirt stuff, without digging a well,
Making wells,
without burying anything, and there's many different applications. I want to say, I think there were 17 different applications that you can use with a boiler, without a boiler, domestic hot water, heat,
chilled water.
Yeah. So there's a lot that you can do with this thing. I'm excited about it too. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't want to give the rest away.
No.
Surprise.
That's why I said spoiler alert.
What do you think? You want to pick one more?
Sure. How about this last one? They're a fad.
That has not been my experience.
It has not been mine. As a matter of fact, working with this product since 2008, that's when we came out with our hyperheating, and was adopted. I remember building a house in 2006, and I knew this technology was here to stay and was viable, and I wanted to use that as my sole source of heat. And the building inspector at the time told me, no, this is a Western Massachusetts town. He told me, you can't do that. You have to have oil, gas, or electric resistance because this wasn't real, quote unquote, to them at the time. Now, whole homes are being built around this product.
Yeah.
And so it is here to stay.
Not only that, but Massachusetts and their incentives for doing this is, if you're going to cover 90% of your heat load, we'll incentivize you to put in heat pumps. So it's almost the other direction where they're not a fad; they're actually being incentivized to be installed.
And those people who say it's a fad, these are probably descendants of the people who criticized Henry Ford and told him that his automobile is just a fad. It'll never catch on. Yeah. The same people who told the guy who invented the TV, this will never catch on. It's just a fad.
Yeah. Or
just
the
saying.
Internet.
Yeah, the internet.
That was wild.
Or the guy, Ken Olsen, was in the head of Digital Equipment Corporation, which was a big company here in New England. And when IBM said, we're going to go after the personal computer business, and he said, there's no reason why anyone would want or need a computer in their homes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he probably called this a fad. So.
Yeah.
So coming from the service world where I started life and being in the sales world now, one of the things that we're recognizing, and I think the industry as a whole is enjoying as well as the end user, is the change out market. And by that, I mean, like a new car, folks are seeing the new models come out and say, geez, I've had this in my home for a while, but I just went to so-and-so's house and look at the one they have. Well, I want that too. Oh, yeah. And so they're actually starting, some of this equipment is getting to be 20 plus years old, and people are saying, well, I want the new one.
Oh, yeah.
And I think all of us are enjoying that market as well. So fad, I don't think so.
No, it's not a fad. It's
I was still working on stuff that said Mr. Slim on the indoor units.
Yeah.
That's a while ago.
Yeah, 40 years in this country, since 1985.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spoke to a guy at the Diamond Contractor Conference in Austin. I think it was last October or November. He still got one of the pug units in his shop. Mm-hmm. He installed it. This guy was my age, and he installed it when he was an apprentice. It's still working. It's still there. I'm not touching it. Leave it alone.
Wow.
Yeah. Every once in a while, he's got a priest come by and blesses it, so that's good. Can't hurt.
No.
Yeah.
Is that it? Any more? Any other things we want to tackle? I mean, there's a lot more than 20. This is just myths, but, and I'm not going to call it it really shouldn't be called a myth. It should be called misinformation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? And it reminds me, when I was quoting these systems to these folks, like, let's go back to gas boilers. I'd be recommending the top of the line high efficiency boilers. And this one lady, I gave a price to, she goes, well, this plumber came by and he told me to get this unit, and it was just a standing pilot unit.
Yeah.
Right? And I go, yes, he wants you to get that because that's all he knows how to fix.
Right.
No offense to plumbers, but I'm just saying this particular plumber didn't want to get into the electronics, and so the correlation I'm trying to draw here is that the people who are giving out the misinformation are the ones that don't want to take the time to learn about heat pumps and work on them and sell them. That shouldn't stop you.
Yeah.
This is a great industry. It's a great product, and it's doing very well, and it's going to continue. It's not going anywhere.
I was going to say one of my myths would be that they're hard to work on. And come to training.
Yeah.
If you train, you go and learn about the product, especially if you work on one particular brand a lot, go to training on that particular brand and you'll learn a ton.
And Mitsubishi Electric's had training for contractors in this country for 25 years, since 2000. Longer than any other manufacturer.
Yeah, and a BMW is probably hard to work on if all you worked on was Chevys and you don't want to go to the training.
Yeah, right. Right.
Exactly. It's not. If I can work on these things, anybody can. That's all I'm saying. It's that simple.
All right, so where are we going to get clams?
Well, Essex is a long drive.
Essex it's not the worst place to be, though.
No, it's not. There's also a place in the North End. It's not on Hanover Street. It's the next street over. I can't think of the name. And I want to say it's Neptune. Mm-hmm. Neptune Oyster Bar, I think it's called. I think they might have clams. I don't recall if they had fried clams last time I was there because I just had the oysters. But they're really good. They're probably, now that the No Name restaurant is no longer around, because that used to be my favorite seafood place in Boston that was right in the Seaport district. Mm. Now that they're no longer around, I think Neptune takes the number one spot for seafood in Boston. If you like that sort of thing. And I do.
This might sound snobby, but I think I told you I was in Virginia Beach and the Outer Banks in North Carolina. And for some reason, we were near the coast and I just felt not okay about ordering seafood. I don't know if it's just because used to the Northeast and the seafood that we have here, but something about being down there, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to.
We may be spoiled up here. I think we have the best.
That's the thing is I think we're a little bit spoiled.
We are spoiled up here, but it depends on, I'm not, I don't want to order seafood in Florida ever again because I ordered a fish and I forget what kind of fish it was, but the scales were still on it. But we are spoiled here. But when I went to Cabo, and you got the seafood comes right out of the Sea of Cortez, that's really good, but it's a whole different kind of good.
Okay.
It's like you can't compare that to the Northeast. It's like Chicago pizza, New York pizza. They're two different foods.
Right.
West Coast seafood and East Coast seafood are two different foods. A lobster is a lot different than the king crab legs.
Right.
They're both good in their own thing, but the Mid-Atlantic, the Maryland area, they got those crab cakes down there. They got those blue crabs. That's really good. That
is good.
I mean, I wouldn't go to Florida and order a lobster.
No.
And if I'm in...
Although we did go to Vegas and order some sushi, and it was fantastic.
We did. That's different, though. Yeah, that's different, though. I wouldn't go to New Mexico and get clam chowder.
Right. Probably not.
Yeah. And Sergio, who's our instructor in California, the Los Angeles area, he actually... you should go to this restaurant. They have the best clam chowder you'll ever have. I threatened to fire him.
There is no
That would be a
Take
mess.
that back. Or yeah. And then again, one of my favorite things I saw on the menu, it had New England clam chowder and had a price for a cup and a bowl.
Yeah.
And then it said Manhattan clam chowder. It was in Rhode Island, in Providence. Manhattan clam chowder, take 95 South. Yeah. Because that stuff is putrid.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm sorry,
I
it
don't know
really
people,
is.
but-
Yeah.
Not
All
to
right.
my taste.
Yes. Sean, thanks for joining us again. We forgot to tell everyone who we are, but that's okay.
I tried.
Yeah, I know. This is what happens when you wing it. Yeah, you don't prepare anything. But Sean Gallagher is actually who's been talking with us the whole time with Bryn Raptor and myself, Paul Schaub. So thank you everyone for listening, and
See you on the next one.
yeah, hope so. Take care.